Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on Captain Clyde's MTG, and we got another great day of spoilers from Dominaria United. This particular spoiler edition is for the base set. I will do a separate video for the commander cards because, my god, they're just coming out in droves right now. Sweet Jesus. So I'm not going to put them all in one thing. I'm going to start separating them if they keep coming out like they are because, good lord, there's so many. With all that said, though, it looks like it's going to be an amazing spoiler season, an amazing set, and man, I cannot wait to play this stuff. So, let's get into it. Before we start, remember, sub up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Moving right along, let's get into this nastiness. So, for a green and 2, we get a 4/3 Land of War Green Widow Spider creature. This thing, for a green and 2, is a 4/3 with reach and trample, so it's got rample. Right? Reample? Reample? Anyway, so it also has domain. So if you guys remember, domain is basic lands of every type. So anyway, for a green and 7, you can return the Land of War Green Widow from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It gains, if this permanent would leave the battlefield, exile it instead. The ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land type among those you control. So if you're playing 2 colors, this thing's basically going to cost you 6 mana. But honestly, if you get to lay it for 3 and it's a 4/3 with trample and reach, and you get to play it again from your graveyard, I don't know how this can't be good. I mean, just for the base cost, it's amazing. And the ability to play it out of the graveyard just makes it sweet. Amazing in draft, probably going to be good in standard. We have the Samite Herbalist. So for a white 1, you get a 2/1. Whenever it becomes tapped, you gain 1 life and scry 1. That's pretty sweet for a common, especially in white weenie. I mean, life gain decks, there you go. Next, we have the Yavamaya Steel Crusher. I don't know why it's a monkey or an ape warrior. But anyway, it's a red and 1 for a 2/2. The Steel Crusher has enlist, which if you guys don't remember, when you attack with an enlist creature, you can tap another creature that is not attacking and does not have summoning sickness and add its power to this creature. And for 1 and sacrificing a Steel Crusher, you can destroy an artifact. This common is going to be highly played because it's a good, cheap creature and it destroys artifacts. Multi-purposed, just it does it all. So, next we have Threats Undetected. Have another rare here. Green and 2 sorcery. Ooh, we can see the ooze. Anyway, search your library for up to 4 creature cards with different powers and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Shuffle the chosen cards into your library. Put the rest into your hand. I get it. This is like Gifts Ungiven. Wow, is this thing going to be good. I mean, unfortunately, it's a sorcery, so it's not going to be as good. But man, it's going to be good. This is going to be great for Commander and Sealed. And to be honest with you, it's probably going to see some standard play just because 3 mana to get 2 cards out of your deck, and you get to pick 4 of them. Like 3 mana draw 2. This is basically a choose your own adventure, draw 2, in essence. So this thing is just redonkulous. Anyway, moving on. Frostfist Strider, so 2 blue and 3 for a 4/4, not bad for an uncommon. It has Ward 2, makes it even better. And when it enters the battlefield, you get to tap a target creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it so it gets to stay tapped. That's pretty sweet for an uncommon. Gonna see lots of good draft play. Might work its way into maybe a commander deck, but that's probably about as far as it's gonna go. Mesa Cavalier. Oh, that brings back the memories. Mesa Pegasus. Anyway, white and 2 for a 2/1 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Not bad for a common, I guess. Shayna Purifying Blade. A blue, white, and a green for a 3/3 with lifelink. At the beginning of your instep, you may pay X. If you do, draw X cards where X can't be greater than the amount of life you gained this turn. If this thing lives and you punch someone in the face, or you just hit something with it, you literally could draw 3 cards a turn with it. This thing is just ridiculous as a mythic. This is going to be in every commander deck known to man that even remotely plays these colors. And heck, it might even see some standard play and maybe even modern. This ability is just way too good. Sweet, good Lord in heaven. Wow, this is a good card. All right, Sarah Redeemer. 2 white and 3 for a 2/4 flyer. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, put 2 +1/+1 counters on that creature. Sweet mother of God. Thank God this thing is 5 mana, or white decks would just be out of hand. Oh my lord. Still might be playable. It's going to be amazing in draft. Probably going to see commander play, and it might sneak into standard if we're unlucky. All right, Briar Hydra, green and 5 for a 6/6 trample, right on rate, but it has domain, which means when it deals combat damage to a player, you put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of basic land types among the lands you control, so at least a +1/+1, probably at least +2/+2, and it can put them on itself. So this thing is going to be great in standard if there's a good way to ramp up to it. However, it is easily killable, so it probably won't see a whole lot of standard play, but you commander players out there, I see you looking at it cross-eyed. I know who you are. So, moving right along. Next, we have Rage Fire Hellkite, another Dargon, or Dragon, or Dargon, or whatever. 2 red and 4 for a flying 5/3. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, it gains double strike in a turn. This thing's going to be badonkers. The only thing going to keep this thing from being heavily played is the fact that it has 3 toughness and can be killed by damn near anything. Which is probably a good thing, because if this thing was a 5/4, I would be terrified of it, even at 6 mana. But you commander players out there who like those dragons, here you go. Moving right along, next we have Tyrannical Pit Lord. 2 black and 4 for a 6/6 flying trample. Oh god, it's a flampolin demon. When it enters the battlefield, choose another creature you control. The chosen creature has +3/+3 and has flying. When the Pit Lord leaves the battlefield, sacrifice the chosen creature. Ew. I mean, this could be really cool in draft. It could be really cool in standard, even commander. However, the fact that if you kill this, something else dies with it, could be a serious drawback that makes it unplayable. And it is 6 mana. So unless someone's doing a commander thing with it, or maybe playing it in draft, probably not going to see much plays or rare. Next, we have Cosmic Empathy. So for 2 blue and 4 sorcery, draw cards equal to the number of instant sorcery cards in your graveyard. This thing's probably going to be disgusting. I'm not going to lie to you. They might sneak one of these cards into the modern Storm deck, just because if you have one of these and you draw it and you've put 15 sorcery cards in your deck, it's easy to get to 6/8 mana and then draw 15 cards and start over again. I mean, I doubt it's going to happen, but it could. And if you're playing Commander, this is probably going to be in every Commander deck, because, yeah, who doesn't like to draw buttloads of cards? Jesus. Anyway. Next, we have the Golden Argosy. Whatever the hell that is. Big boat. Anyway, 4 mana for a 3/6 vehicle. Ew. Whenever the Argosy attacks, exile each creature that crewed it this turn. Return them to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Crew 1. Oh, God. This is going to make Blink decks so good. Because you're going to crew it, swing with this thing. The creature that crewed it's going to blink. It's going to have an enter the battlefield trigger. You could use this in Pioneer in the Elemental deck and just have your Elementals popping in and out and drawing cards off of that Reef card. It's blue-green. Oh, God, this is going to get out of hand. It's probably going to be cheap to begin with, but once somebody figures out how to break this thing, it's going to be disgusting. I'm just saying. Next, we have Cut Down. Destroy target creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. This is not as good as it looks. It will be a very prized removal card, and probably sideboarded very heavily against aggro decks, which it looks like we're gonna have a lot of aggro in the new format. But I don't think it's gonna see as much modern plays I've heard my friends talk about, because for 1 black you literally can just play Fatal Push, which can kill things that have greater toughness or 5 or less. Because, for example, this ain't killing a Goyf, and if it is killing a Goyf, you shouldn't be killing a Goyf, because the Goyf is just not a threat. Anyway, but that's my ideas. So, moving on. We have Chaotic Transformation. So for red and 5, we have sorcery. Exile up to 1 target artifact, up to 1 creature, 1 enchantment, up to 1 planeswalker, and or up to 1 land. For each permanent exiled this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a card that shares a card type with it, puts that card onto the battlefield, and then shuffles. Thank God this is 6 mana. It's only a lot broken and not severely broken. This is going to be a combo deck in Pioneer, probably standard too, with like a red-green ramp deck. This is just going to be disgusting. Now, if there's not enough to make this deck disgusting, I think we might be okay. But we're going to have to watch out for cards like this, because that free cast and stuff is just Dumb. Anyway, moving on. Next we have the Balduvian Atrocity. That's kind of cool, but it's Balduvian. Anyway, I like Balduvians. So for a black and 2, you get a 2/3 kicker of red, so 4 total. It has menace. If it enters the battlefield, it was kicked. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Sacrifice at the end of the next step. Ooh, that's kind of kinky. I like it. This is probably going to be a great card for draft, sealed, and I think this is going to have a home probably in some form of standard deck, depending on what we're playing. Once again, it's going to depend on the meta, but this could have a place, especially early when there's not many cards to choose from. This could actually shine until more cards come into the format that are more powerful. Next we have Singir Concierge. 3 black and 3 for a 3/3 flying vampire. Whenever one or more creatures die, put a +1/+1 counter on Singir Concierge. Connoisseur, blah blah blah. The ability triggers only once each turn. Good draft card. Probably as far as it's going. Next we have Orherborg Repossession. So 1 black sorcery. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you kicked it and you gain 2 life, if the spell was kicked, return another target permanent card, your graveyard to your hand. So for 3 mana, you can get a creature and a permanent. So that's pretty sweet, and 2 life. So for common, pretty good. Great in draft. I probably won't see anything outside of that though. Writhing Necromass. Okay, that's disturbing. Anyway, black and 6 for a giant zombie giant, whatever. 5/5. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard, and it has Death Touch. Alright, hold the phone. This thing in a black deck could be cast for 1 black if you're playing like a mono black style, low to the ground deck. This thing may be the next Gerbag Angler of the standard environment. And maybe even modern. Yeah, we're gonna have to watch this one, guys. This one's basically it has Delve without having Delve. It has better Delve, but it has Delve plus because the creatures are in your graveyard. You ain't got to exile them, and then every zombie giant after that just costs the same. It's just a 5/5 big nappy thing with tentacles that's just gonna eat your horse. Anyway, this thing has promise. Mock my words. This thing's gonna see play everywhere. Next, we have Scout the Wilderness. So for a green and 2, we have a sorcery. It says search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. If you kick the spell, you create 2 1/1 white soldier tokens. So basically, this is a 3 mana ramp spell, plus the ability to kick it for a basic white and 1, which is a get 2 1/1 white spell. So basically, it's an ability to ramp and late game ramp plus get 2 creatures. I mean, it's going to be a fine common card for draft, maybe even commander, but I don't think it's to see play after that. 5 mana is way too much for what it's trying to do. Voda Sea Scavenger, blue and 2 for a 3/2 Merfolk Rogue. Has domain when it enters the battlefield. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic lands, cause domain. You may put one of those cards on top of your library, put the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. Fine for draft, but it's not doing anything past that. I'm not feeling it. Volsci Tide Turner. Okay. So for blue and 1, you get a 1/3 Merfolk Wizard. Tap to add a blue. Spend this mana only to cast instant or sorcery spell or a kicked spell. And basic common mana dork with restrictions on blue. Viashino Branch Rider. Very nice. 1 red for a 1/1. Has haste. If it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2/2/2 counters. So if you pay 4, which is a red, and then kick it for a green and 2, it becomes a 3/3. And it gets +2/+0 to the end of turn. Decent common for draft. Probably won't see much play after that because 4 mana for a 3/3 just ain't going to be good enough. Snare Spinner, green and 1 for a 1/3 reach. And it blocks something flying. It's +2/+0. This is just your basic spider with reach. That gets big enough to kill things in the air that we see in most sets. Molten Monstrosity. A red and 7 for a 5/5. Spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creature cards you control. That's kind of dangerous. This could easily be a 3 mana spell. Has trample. It's a 5/5. I still don't think it's as good as a black one, but it may have its place in draft, but that might be it. Next, we have Monogoth Synth. It's a big wood thing. It's a tree folk. Anyway, Green and 3 for a 4/4 reach. Decent common for draft. Stall for time. So white and 2. Tap up to 2 target creatures. If this spell is kicked, put a stun counter on each of those creatures. And to stun them, you got to pay a blue and 1. Plus, you get to draw a card. Won't see a whole lot of play outside of draft, but it does seem like a pretty solid draft card. Next, we have Take Up the Shield. White and 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains lifelink and indestructible end of turn. I mean, this is going to be a great draft card. I don't think it's good enough for standard unless board wipes and creature removal becomes a thing, because the indestructible will matter. However, currently and in the set to come, there will be -1/-1 removal spells, so it might not be good enough. Toxic Abomination. Black and 1 for 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, you lose 2 life. That's just horrible. I don't want to lose 2 life for this to come into play untapped, because you literally have a 3/2 for the same amount of mana it comes into play tapped from Nuka Penna. But with that said, if you're playing low to the ground black, maybe you want 8 of those things. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. It may be good. Tattered Apparition. A black and 3 for a 2/2 with flying. Black and 1. It gets +1/+1 till the end of turn. Good for draft. Probably as far as it's going to go. Vine Shaper Prodigy. So for a green and 1, we have a 2/2 common that can be kicked for a blue and 1. It's an elf druid. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand, the rest in the bottom of your library in random order. So for 4 mana, this is basically a 2/2 with a really bad brainstorm or a fixed brainstorm, because you don't have to go through the cards again. Fine in draft. Might be good in commander. Tolarian Terror. Tolarian Academy. Anyway, blue and 6 for a 5. Okay, so there's apparently a whole thing of this stuff, of this kind of effect. A blue and 6 for a 5/5. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each instant sorcery in graveyard. Ward 2. Alright, so this is really sweet. Probably better than the black one, because it does line up. It lines up really well with the blue decks, especially for it being, as you could say, the threat to wrap up a game, as you counter and remove all of your opponent's stuff. Plus, it has Ward 2, which makes it harder to kill. So I think this might have a little promise too. This whole, delve effect that doesn't actually make you remove cards from your graveyard is probably going to be really overpowered, I think. Tolarian Geyser. A blue and 2, kicker 1 white. So return target creature to its owner's hand, draw a card. If a spell is kicked, you gain 3 life. It's a basic tempo move. It's nice to have the white on there to gain some life, so if you have the extra mana, but good removal spell for draft. Next we have Najal the Storm Runner. So for a red, blue, and 2, it's a 5/4. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. That's pretty good. Whenever the Storm Runner attacks, you may pay 2 colorless. If you do, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets. Alright, that makes it really good, especially for draft and commander. I still think it costs too much to be played in standard, or any other set, or any other format, just because it's going to take a lot of mana and it's not have green in it. Yeah, this is going to be kind of a limited all-star, I think. Next, we have the Defiler of Vigor. So we have 2 green and 3 for a 6/6 trampler. Already amazing. Plus, it says, as an additional cost to cast green permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost a green less for each one. Basically gives them Phyrexian mana. This effect reduces the amount of green mana. Whenever you cast a green permanent spell, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. There's going to be a card like this for every color, because we've already seen another one for blue, I believe. This one seems really good, and depending how the other ones come out, this Phyrexian thing could really get out of hand really quick. I see a world of aggro decks versus Phyrexian decks, because I'm going to play all this cool stuff and use my life instead of mana to get an early advantage. And then your opponent's just going to lay a bunch of 2/2s, try to punch you in the face and kill you first, and then bolt you in the head to finish you off. So anyway, next we have the land cycle. So not going to say a whole lot about it. The lands are pretty. I like the stained glass ones better, obviously. The best thing I think I like about these lands is, notice that looks like the Weatherlight, or maybe the other ship that was crashed into. That kind of looks like the rings from Ugin. That looks like a dragon. I don't know about that. That looks like the weather light again, which is cool. Love the weather light. I hope it's in the set. God, I hope it's in the set. Um, Nothing really special in this. Eh, there's a fungus among us. Anyway, so with that said, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. That is the end of the spoilers for Friday the 19th. Thanks a lot for watching. Check out the other video I'm getting ready to post on the Commander leaks for today. And remember, like, subscribe, notify, put some comments down below, feed that YouTube algorithm, get some more views for the channel. All you got to do is just sub up. One little click will do great things for me in the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And for those of you who are all along the ride with me already subbed up, check out the links in the description to eBay, Patreon. Get you some sweet cards from a trusted source. My email's in there if you have any questions. And as always, until next time, be kind. And I hope to see you across from the game table at pre-release.